Hello and welcome to News at 6 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here we continue to track US President Barack Obama's visit to India. We're getting you all the complete coverage and analysis on that. And in the next half an hour also we'll try to show things in perspective. But here are the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Barack Obama agreed to break nuclear deadlock. Both leaders addressed joint press conference, hinting progress in talks to operationalize the civil nuclear deal. Prime Minister breaks protocol to receive US President at the airport for his 3-day visit. Obama witnesses grand ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Unprecedented security in place for the Republic Day parade tomorrow. 7-layer security ring with bulletproof enclosure to protect Obama. And Shinzo Abe slams killing of Japanese hostages by Islamic State, calls for immediate release of another Japanese hostage. Obviously, the top story is going to be the continuous coverage on US President Barack Obama's 3-day visit to India. Well, India and the US reached a breakthrough on 2 issues holding up civil nuclear cooperation. US President Barack Obama and Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced this during a joint press conference today at the Hyderabad House. The nuclear liability issue had stalled the civil nuclear deal worth billions for the last 6 years. Now, sources said that Obama and Modi gave a final push on the deal today during talks.
The operationalization of the civil nuclear deal was one of the key interests during US President Barack Obama's visit to India. Prior to the visit, Indian and US officials met in London to iron out the differences over some of the sticking issues. But the final push came on Sunday morning during the bilateral talks between Modi and Obama. The two leaders walked together in the lawns of Hyderabad House in Delhi, deep in talks ahead of the summit meet. Later, at a joint press conference, the two leaders announced a breakthrough.
I am pleased that 6 years after we signed our bilateral agreement, we are moving towards commercial cooperation.
Today we achieved a breakthrough understanding on 2 issues that were holding up our ability to advance our civil nuclear cooperation, and we're committed to moving towards full implementation. And this is an important step that shows how we can work together to elevate our relationship.
Among other key agreements struck during the bilateral summit talks were in defense and anti-terrorism cooperation. Obama expressed his satisfaction in the talks to increase bilateral trade between the two countries. He also offered US support to India's demand for a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council.
Terrorism remains a principal global threat. We agreed that we need a comprehensive global strategy and approach to combat with it. There should be no distinction between terrorist groups. Every country must fulfill its commitment to eliminate terrorists.
We support a reformed UN Security Council that includes India as a permanent member.
Ahead of his visit to India, Obama had put the onus on Pakistan to eliminate safe terror havens in the country as counter-terrorism measures. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, my colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us from Hyderabad House. Akhilesh, we heard that joint press conference there at Hyderabad House, but the big question is that Obama said there is a breakthrough understanding as far as the civil nuclear deal is concerned. What are your sources telling you? Is it only about the contract that is to be signed, or is there something more to it now?
No, actually, there was a misunderstanding on the issue of liability law, and also there was pressure from American side on the issue of tracking of the nuclear materials that they are providing to us. So I think this is the understanding that has happened between the two countries, that there will be no such tracking, because IAEA is already doing the tracking part on every nuclear installation that is in civilian area. And on the other side, there is a question of liability that is going to be the suppliers. And in that case, there is a case of insurance. There might be an insurance agency that will be taking care of the accident that is happening, and the premium for that might be paid by the two countries. This is an administrative arrangement between the two countries on the issue of civil nuclear establishments. So I think this is one of the core issues that was hampering both the countries in moving forward on the core issue between India and America. But there are differences on many other issues that has to be resolved, and as President Barack Obama himself said, that the journey cannot be completed within one day. It takes time, but the understanding is there, and that is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi was using the term Barack for President Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was using the term Modi for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And you can see that there is an understanding, there is a bonhomie between the two leaders, and they were having tea in the lawns of Hyderabad House. They were moving and talking together, and I think that they have got the chemistry that will take the two countries moving forward in a better direction, in a more feasible way of cooperation between the two great nations of the world. Yes, Aishwarya.
Right, you're talking about the bonhomie there also, but talking about the deal here, Akhilesh, now there were the points that you mentioned. Should we take it for granted now that America has actually forfeited its insistence on what you called flagging? You just mentioned about the flagging or tracking of the nuclear material that they supply to India. Has America really forfeited that insistence?
Yeah, actually on this point only there were talks going on, and both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Barack Obama had appointed an emissary who were talking in London on many micro issues, and this was one of the major issues that was confronting the two countries. And as far as my sources are saying that America has forfeited this thing, and it is going to go with the IAEA supervision and IAEA surveillance on our nuclear establishment, that is in civil nuclear area.
Right.
You must be knowing that there is our strategic nuclear establishment, and for strategic nuclear establishment there will be no such surveillance. But for our civil nuclear establishment there will be surveillance and IAEA safeguards, and America will be satisfied with those safeguards that is being provided, inputs provided by the IAEA. Yeah, Saiswarya.
All right, Akhilesh, you keep tracking all those developments. We'll keep coming back to you. Thanks so much for that. All right, we are joined in by Mr. Salman Haider, who is the former Foreign Secretary. Thank you so much, Mr. Haider, for joining us here on Rajya Sabha TV. Mr. Haider, we just heard what our reporter, Mr. Akhilesh Suman, was pointing out. He said that the main differences really between India and the US vis-a-vis the civil nuclear deal has been, actually all those differences have been ironed out. So, should we rejoice?
I think we should certainly rejoice. We should rejoice that an important step forward has been taken. We should also note that the leaders, especially Mr. Obama, have used careful language in describing it. They are not suggesting that the contracts can be signed tomorrow.
Exactly.
We haven't reached that stage. But I think this is the indication that we have received, that the world has received, that the potential suppliers have received, is that matters are on the move. The roadblocks have been, at least some of the roadblocks have been now taken out of the way, and there is genuine expectation that with further discussion we will be at the stage where contracts can actually be looked at, which is of course what India has been waiting for so long.
Exactly. But the point is, Modi admitted that the civil nuclear deal was the centerpiece of Indo-US understanding. But as far as those, he did not say that in as many words that really an understanding has been reached and we could just go and sign the contracts. What was the reason?
Well, because it behooves leaders as much as anyone else to be cautious. And while there is great satisfaction, I imagine that the two leaders who have pushed the apparatus forward, while they have a genuine sense of satisfaction, they have given momentum, they are careful not to exaggerate what has been achieved. What has been achieved, from what I can see, is a meeting of minds, a reduction of differences between them, between the two sides, and a determination, a shared determination to to go forward. I think these are very, very valuable developments.
Right. Also, obviously, we're talking about this civil nuclear deal, but in that joint press conference that we heard, President Obama also spoke on cooperation on specific advanced defense projects and development of defense technology. He said that India is also slated to co-produce and co-develop defense projects with the United States. How important is that going to be?
I think that's very important, but this is something that was anticipated.
Yes.
Unlike the nuclear deal, civil nuclear deal, it was not in the balance. It had been fairly well advertised that this was something that was more or less ready to be accepted. Let me also add just a sidelight on good management of media and projection. That what President Obama and Mr. Modi have announced jointly, I imagine that it had been virtually agreed before they met at the press conference. I mean, maybe even before the president came here. But it's good to sort of build up the momentum, build up the sort of excitement and the drama of the visit itself by timing agreements and announcements of this sort carefully, as this one is being done. Maybe there'll be one or two more up their sleeves.
But what about the chemistry between the US President and Prime Minister Narendra Modi? We heard Mr. Modi, in fact, referring to the US President by his first name and talking over a cup of tea. I think there's a lot of informality in that relationship that also helped to sort out a lot of matters.
I think that is certainly the case. Certain personal chemistry. But state relations are not driven by chemistry among the leaders, but favorable chemistry helps. You may be inclined to give sort of the benefit of the doubt in certain situations to the other side, if you feel that he or she is a person in whom you can have trust and confidence. And mark you, President Obama has been clearly he has a feeling for India, and this goes back to the previous administration also. He had very good relations also with our previous Prime Minister. We should remember that there also questions of chemistry were not lacking. But the circumstances at that time were not conducive. Now they are.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Haider, for joining us here and putting things in perspective for us. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on in the bulletin now. Earlier, Obama arrived to a grand reception in Delhi this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi broke the port protocol to receive him at the airport when the US President arrived in his Air Force One. Now, laying out a red carpet, the Prime Minister greeted Obama with a hug. Later, he was given the ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. A 21-gun salute greeted Obama as he arrived at the presidential palace in his limousine, escorted by scarlet uniformed cavalry down a red clay path. Now, apart from President Pranab Mukherjee and the Prime Minister, several senior cabinet ministers were also present. Obama also took the salute and inspected the guard of honor before greeting the delegates. The US President expressed his gratitude, saying that it was a great honor to receive extraordinary hospitality. President Obama went to Rajghat after the ceremonial reception, where he paid tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. Now, Obama evoked Martin Luther King's words on Gandhi to call his spirits as a rare gift to the world. And a woman officer, Wing Commander Pooja Thakur, led the ceremonial guard of honor for US President Barack Obama at the Rashtrapati Bhavan today as she walked him for the inspection of the guard of honor. Now, she's the first woman officer to lead a tri-services guard of honor. The gesture reflects the theme for this year's Republic Day parade, which is Nari Shakti, or woman power. For the first time, all women officer contingents of the Army, Air Force and Navy will walk down the Rajpath tomorrow. Now, reacting to the honor of leading the ceremonial guard of honor, Wing Commander Thakur said that she hoped that she would inspire more women to join the forces.
बहुत ही गर्व महसूस हुआ, एक प्राउड मोमेंट था इंडियन एयरफोर्स और मेरे लिए कि आई वाज कमांडिंग द इंटर सर्विसेज गार्ड ऑफ ऑनर फॉर मिस्टर बैरक ओबामा। मैं पहली महिला थी शायद जो एक इंटर सर्विस अंतर सर्विसेज सम्मान गार्ड को कमांड कर रही थी, लेकिन उससे पहले हम सब लोग एक ऑफिसर हैं, एक डिफेंस ऑफिसर हैं और हम सबको सेम ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, चाहे हम एक लेडी ऑफिसर हैं चाहे मेल ऑफिसर हैं।
Now, Obama will be the first U.S. president to attend the Republic Day parade as its chief guest. Obama will have a packed schedule on Monday. Apart from attending the parade with the First Lady Michelle Obama, he will later attend at-home reception by President Pranab Mukherjee at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. In the evening, Obama will attend the India-US CEO meeting at the Hotel Taj Palace before heading to the India-US Business Summit. Now, Delhi has turned into a fortress ahead of the Republic Day parade tomorrow. With Obama as the chief guest, security is strict in the national capital. Here is a look at the security arrangements in place for tomorrow.
The national capital has virtually turned into an unpenetrable fortress for the Republic Day parade on Monday. US President Barack Obama's presence as the chief guest has forced several unprecedented security measures. Over 1,000 NSG snipers along with 44,000 security personnel from Delhi police and paramilitary forces will be guarding the national capital. A 7-layer security ring will guard the enclosure that would be used by Obama, President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The enclosure will be bulletproof as the US President will be in an open air sitting for over 1.5 hours, something unprecedented in his visit to a foreign country. The 80,000 strong Delhi police force, assisted by another 20,000 drawn from paramilitary forces and state armed police, will be on vigil to prevent any untoward incident. Spectators have to pass through a stringent multi-layer security check to be able to watch the parade. They will not be allowed to carry any electronic gadget to the venue. For the first time, AWACS may be deployed to maintain vigil from the skies during the parade. The AWACS will monitor airspace above and around Rajpath, where the parade will be witnessed by Obama. Specialized canine units of Indian paramilitary forces will be in service along with a team of 7 Belgian Malinois dogs of the US Navy SEALs, which are accompanying the security personnel of the United States. Security agencies have also sealed 71 buildings in close proximity of Rajghat. Security personnel have been deployed on rooftops. The 3-kilometer stretch of Rajghat, the main venue of the Republic Day parade, will be secured with a 7-layer security and will have over 160 CCTV cameras with one camera installed at every 18 meters. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Delhi Traffic Police has issued an advisory for the Republic Day parade tomorrow, with several key roads being closed for public. The parade will start at 9:50 a.m. from Vijay Chowk and will proceed to the Red Fort ground, passing through Rajpath, India Gate, Tilak Marg, Bahadur Shah Zafar Marg and Netaji Subhash Marg. Now, no traffic will be allowed from Vijay Chowk to India Gate on Rajpath from 5 in the morning to 12:30 p.m. Now, no cross traffic is being permitted on Rajpath from 9:30 a.m. at Rafi Marg, Janpath, Mansingh Road and C Hexagon. From 10 in the morning, traffic on Tilak Marg, Bahadur Shah Zafar Marg and Subhash Marg will not be allowed in both the directions. 6 metro stations in the vicinity of Rajpath will be shut for a few hours. The stations to remain closed are Central Secretariat, Udyog Bhavan, Patel Chowk, Race Course, Mandi House and Pragati Maidan.
26 तारीख को ये सुबह 5 बजे से ही राजपथ बंद हो जाएगा और बाकी पूरा जो इलाका है वो भी सैनिटाइज हो जाएगा। उसमें भी किसी भी तरह की गाड़ी जिसमें लेबल नहीं लगा है, जैसे मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया, बिना लेबल की गाड़ी को अलाउड नहीं होगा। एंड ड्यूरिंग द मूवमेंट ऑफ द वीआईपी द ट्रैफिक विल बी स्टॉप्ड on those roads which would be used by the VIP.
All right, we take a very short break. Coming up ahead, world leaders gather in Riyadh to pay tribute to late Saudi King Abdullah. That and much more after a short break. Stay with us.
सरोजिनी नायडू स्वतंत्रता सेनानी, कवयित्री और वक्ता, कांग्रेस की अध्यक्ष निर्वाचित होने वाली पहली भारतीय महिला सरोजिनी ने 13 साल की उम्र में रची थी पहली कविता। आजादी के बाद वो बनी देश की पहली महिला राज्यपाल। भारत कोकिला के नाम से मशहूर सरोजिनी नायडू है नारी शक्ति की अनूठी मिसाल।
Welcome back after the break. Now on to some international news. Well, Japan's Prime Minister today said that he was left speechless after an online video purportedly showing that one of the two Japanese hostages of Islamic State had been killed. Now, Shinzo Abe admitted that the video was likely to be authentic and called for the immediate release of the second hostage. Take a look. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Sunday said the Islamic State video claiming the beheading of Haruna Yokawa, one of the two Japanese hostages, appeared to be genuine. The Japanese government had earlier said the latest appeared quite different in format from earlier Islamic State videos.
ゆかは春菜さんを殺害したとみられる写真が配信されました。まさに痛恨の極みであります。残念ながら今の時点で我々この信憑性について分析をしていますが、信憑性が高いと言わざるを得ない状況になっておりまして、ご家族のご心痛察するにあまりあり、言葉もございません。
Obama, who is on a 3-day visit to India, issued a statement condemning what he called a brutal murder and that the United States would stand shoulder to shoulder with Japan. In the latest Islamic video, a man claiming to be Goto says his cellmate is dead and pleads for his own life. However, Japanese Prime Minister declined to comment on the possibility of a prisoner exchange.
同断の許し難い暴挙であり、強い憤りを覚えます。断固非難します。また残る1名の日本人に危害を加えないよう、そして直ちに解放するよう強く。
Japan's Deputy Foreign Minister Yasuhide Nakayama is in Jordan to try to coordinate rescue efforts. Goto is a freelance journalist who went to cover the Syrian conflict. This is not the first time Japan has faced a hostage crisis from Islamic militants. In 2004, followers of Jordanian militant Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in Iraq beheaded a 24-year-old backpacker, Shosi Koda. A video by Zarqawi's group, which later became the Islamic State group, showed Koda begging to be saved. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And world leaders gathered in Saudi Arabia today to pay their respects following the death of King Abdullah. British Prime Minister David Cameron and French President Francois Hollande were among those in the capital Riyadh to offer their condolences. The dignitaries from more than 10 countries met with the new ruler, King Salman, who has pledged continuity in the country's foreign and energy policies. King Abdullah died on Friday, weeks after being admitted to a hospital with a lung infection. Now, he came to the throne in 2005 but had already been Saudi Arabia's de facto leader for 10 years. A US delegation led by President Barack Obama will arrive in Riyadh on Tuesday.
The President, as articulated in his statement last night, expressed his deepest sympathies and condolences to the family of King Abdullah and to the people of Saudi Arabia. The President enjoyed a genuinely close and warm friendship with the late King.
Well, that's all in this edition of News at 6, but news and updates continue on your channel. Keep watching.